Okay, so we started the tour from the Sheraton, and you note that now, as well as every work day in the morning, all the lanes, they go in the same direction. Once we get to the top, to the Corcovado Station, there is two ways to get to the very top of the mountain, where we have the symbol, the most famous symbol of the city, the statue of the Christ the Redeemer.
Such a nice time.
We're taking the train back down, and then we go to downtown. We go to the city center. We have one stop in the city center. We'll visit the Metropolitan Cathedral of Rio de Janeiro, and we'll see some of the important buildings in downtown. The metropolitan area of Brazil. Well, this is a very important area in the city. Cinelândia is the name of this, let's say, this square, this area. And around Cinelândia, we have some very important buildings in the cultural life in the city. Like, for example, this building that's on the process of very important. The other building across the street is the National Library. It's the most important library in South America. And the building behind is the city parliament. So I think we see a little bit. We're driving right along this Flamingo Park. It's like a central park in the city. And our next stop will be at the restaurant. So we're having lunch, and then we go to the Sugarloaf Mountain. The Sugarloaf Mountain is the one that you have to take the cable cars.
And let's go just a little bit here. Sometimes you have to stay in the middle of the road. As soon as this Westin
Excuse me, I have my taxi now.
Wow, this is about 700,000 people a year. Yeah. Well, this is a private company.
Going to school.
Oh, that's good. Oh, that's good. My brother.
That's it.
It's 4 days, 16 free.
Thank you very much.
Did anybody get a pickup? Deixa eu mandar essa maneira. Hop, vai lá.
Muito alto.
This was the original one. 1913. And the engine is right here. The My first trip to
Oh, I'm not sure I got the cable cars.
Oh yeah, it looks like it's moving, Monica.
I've seen it close and touch the base.
We expect to be back at the hotel around 4:30, approximately 4:30.
Atenção, senhora Viviane Bastos, voltando 3080 com destino a Recife. Última chamada de embarque, portão 27.
That's your hotel. So anytime you want, you can go because the hotel is 50 yards in front of the falls. Okay, so fantastic view. By the way, at the night, if you listen shaking the windows, it's not the ghost of the national park. Okay, it's just the vibration of the waterfalls. Okay, Seca. So now let's cross the bridge linking Brazil to Argentina. Here we are, Argentina.
Going to the Argentina side to visit the Devil's Throat, and then we have to get off the train and take another train to the Devil's Throat station. That's the final station. Once we get to the Devil's Throat station, it's beautiful when you get there, but you have to walk. okay? It's basically flats, catwalks, let's say catwalks, walk along catwalks. It's a very, amazing, it's a very impressive, very spectacular view. You can feel and you can see, you can feel, you can hear the roar of the water. It's fantastic. You can see Brazil on the other side.
Good air, good air. Our city is the capital city, the federal city from Argentina. Buenos Aires is like Washington, D.C. I mean, it's an independent city. Doesn't belong to the national government and doesn't belong to the Buenos Aires state government. So our city has its own mayor. And now we are in the 9th of July Avenue. We start to go along from the widest avenue in the world, 140 meters wide. All surrounded the obelisk is the Republic Square. This is the meeting place or the meeting point for celebrations, for football, soccer celebration. You know, the Argentinians, when we have a club that was a winner or they won a Champions League, they have a meeting point. Also around the obelisk is the party.
Hi folks, welcome on board the Star Princess. We're going to have some great time with you.
The security officer's just coming back up the gangway. He's been trying to resolve the situation, and as soon as he's on board, the gangway will come in, and in just a few minutes we'll be moving out of here to enjoy the sail away.
course, you've got a fabulous port day straight away tomorrow. My favourite port, Montevideo. It really is a beautiful place, and it's the last time you're going to feel warm. So get outside, okay? Believe me, it is. I did this cruise a couple of weeks ago. I know what it gets like. So go out and have a great time. Have a wonderful cruise, everybody. Can't wait to get to see you all.
Good morning. Welcome to Uruguay. Welcome to the city of Montevideo. But now we are in the Independencia Square, Plaza Independencia, the gate or the main door for go in and out the old city. The Independence Square having the middle the monument of Jose Artigas. Artigas was the hero of the country who started in the 1809 all the revolutionary movements for get the independence to our country. In the middle of the square, the monument of Jose Artigas with the remains of Jose Artigas downstairs the monument. Around the monument, 33 palm trees symbolize the 33 men who finally gave the independence in the 1825. The entrance of the palace. The palace is going to be open just in one moment, and we are going to make the visit in the palace.
Gentlemen, good afternoon. It's Captain, welcome back. We do hope you've had a wonderful stay here in the port of Montevideo. We've been topping ourselves up with fuel today. It's taken quite a lengthy time, taken on a huge amount because there's very few opportunities between here and Valparaiso to get any more fuel. We will take a little bit of a top up in Port Stanley. We'll be letting go our lines and heading out of the port of Montevideo. It's quite a tight squeeze for a big ship like this in a small little harbour. We'll use our side thrusters to gently move sideways until we're level with the exit, and then we'll kick ourselves ahead and gently ease out through the gap. Turn around to the south to go through the outer breakwaters, and then it's about 5 or 6 miles or so before the local pilot will disembark, and then we'll be heading on our way down the River Plate. The distance from here down to Port Stanley is 1,025 nautical miles. It's been a beautiful day today. The temperature is presently 25 Celsius, which is 77 Fahrenheit. Tomorrow will be the last warm day. The day after that we'll be into much colder water, and as we head towards the Southern Ocean and indeed the Falkland Islands, or Malvinas if you prefer, we do enjoy the final warm day tomorrow, so it should be relatively easy on the open decks. And so, all in all, the ship should ride very, very smoothly on our transit down to Port Stanley. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is an interesting sail away this evening. Do enjoy. Once more, welcome back.
Welcome to the Captain's Welcome Aboard reception. Well, ladies and gentlemen, right now it is my utmost pleasure to introduce to you the Master of the Star Princess. You've got to bring him on with a huge round of applause. From the United Kingdom, please welcome Captain Ed Perrin.
Well, thank you, Richard. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to have the opportunity at this party to formally welcome you on board the Star Princess. Well, you really have picked quite a spectacular cruise. This really is quite something special. Of course, the ultimate goal, I know, for everybody is to head down to the Antarctic Peninsula. It really is quite a voyage of discovery heading down there, and I do hope that you find that that you feel like an original explorer. I don't know if you know any of the rules about navigation in Antarctica, but there's lots of treaties set up to make sure that it remains very unspoiled, a totally natural place, and of course, as such, I do hope that you can enjoy it in its full beauty. It really will be spectacular. We've just got to cross our fingers and hope for some really good weather as we go down. Incidentally, at the moment, looking ahead, it does look as though we're going to be lucky and have a good time. Well, on board this ship, I'll give you some statistics. I find this very interesting. On board the ship right now, we have 2,477 of you. That's 2,477 passengers. And taking care of the 2,477 of you is 1,067 of us. You all come from, as passengers, 44 different countries around the globe, and we, as crew, come from 38 different countries. Add that little lot up, if I've got my mathematics right, and I haven't counted any country twice. So if there's a crew member from one country and a passenger from the same country, it only counts once. The total on board this ship right now is 3,544 of us in total, and this really is quite staggering. We come from 58 different countries around the globe, so give yourselves a round of applause for being such a cosmopolitan bunch. Well done. Now, as I said earlier, you really have picked a wonderful adventure. We've been through Buenos Aires, Montevideo. We've got the Antarctic Peninsula to look forward to. As I said, there'll be lots more about that as time goes on. But as we sail out of the Antarctic Peninsula, please don't think it's all over, because there's loads to look forward to in Chile and Argentina on the way back as well. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome on board. We do look forward to getting to know you a little better during the cruise. We hope you're going to have a wonderful time, take home lots of happy memories and wonderful pictures as well. One thing left to say, and that's bon appetit. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Master of the Star Princess, Captain Ed Perrin.
And a very good afternoon now. Since our departure from Montevideo, we have steamed 733 nautical miles with an average speed of 17 knots. We have further 296 nautical miles to our destination, Stanley. Our present position is latitude 46 degrees, 47 south, longitude 56 degrees, 52 west, which is 360 nautical miles off the coast of Argentina. And we are presently following a southerly course toward the Falkland Islands. The seas are moderate. The air temperature outside is 16 degrees Celsius or 61 Fahrenheit. The sky is partially cloudy, and we expect the current condition to prevail throughout the day. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your attention, and enjoy your present day at sea on board the wonderful Star Princess.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. This is the captain. Very warm welcome to Port Stanley in the Falkland Islands. It's a beautiful day here. Very calm conditions and reasonably clear skies. Well, the ship's now safely anchored. All our boats are in the water. Tender pontoons are being made ready. Forecast isn't for a wonderfully warm day, but the temperature should rise to around 16 Celsius or 61 Fahrenheit. Winds remain pretty much reasonably light, and it's a possibility of getting a little bit more cloudy as the day progresses. However, this is the Falkland Islands. Things do change incredibly quickly, and if I were a gambling man, I would say that there's going to be a possibility of a scattered shower. Now, please don't forget that we sail for the Antarctic Peninsula. This afternoon, the ship will leave here at 6 p.m. We're sharing the facilities here today in Port Stanley with the Seven Seas Mariner, so please don't hop on the wrong boat. Don't know where you'll end up, so make sure Star Princess is written on the tender boat that you get onto. Well, it really is a fantastic port of call. There's lots of wonderful things to see here in Port Stanley, and it is a very, very good day here. So whatever you're doing, whether you're on tour, whether you're just looking around town on your own, or indeed enjoying the views from the ship, have a wonderful stay in the Falkland Islands.
Okay, today we've declared a cruise ship day because there are more of you floating in the harbour than there are of us. So anyone not involved in the cruise ship industry has left town. Makes life so much easier. Leave it to the tourists and we'll come back and claim it back again after you've gone. Now, Stanley is very easy to navigate. It's on a north-facing slope, so that's north. So when we get you back to the Jetty Visitor Centre at the end of the tour, all you need to do is do all your complicated shopping by going uphill first, fall downhill, and you'll end up on the front road. Don't worry about getting on the last tender. We're very good at rounding up sheep. We can do the same with tourists. Here we have the cathedral, so that turns us into a city. It is open for business. If you see a very distinguished looking chap around, the bishop's in town. So there we have the whalebone arch, so that's the jaw bones of two blue whales. Here we have our open space. This is Victory Green. This is like our Hyde Park or Times Square. This is where we have all our demonstrations, but we have very small demonstrations. We have the two saluting guns on the front there. They give the Queen her royal salute on her real birthday in April, as opposed to the tourist attraction that goes ahead in June in London. And now the central business district. This is where it all happens. On this side we have the bank, and directly opposite we put the police station. Put the police station directly opposite the bank, saves on security cameras. Here we have the Catholic Church. So that's a kit church. You see the same ones all over the British Empire. So this is Liberation Monument 1982. But on the central plinth there, you see all the names of all the Army, Navy, Air Force, ships, units, squadrons that took part in the liberation of the islands, and the 255 names for the British killed for the liberation. That is the Falklands flag on the flagpole and the Secretariat building at the back. This is Government House, the seat of the Foreign Office in the islands, where he lives and has his office. So that's where the governor is, as I say, the representative of the Foreign Office in the islands. And they usually do a from 3 to 5 year tour of duty, and then goes somewhere else far less stressful in the world, like the Middle East or South America. We have Battle Memorial for 1914. 8th of December 1914, Battle of the Falklands. Very important naval engagement of its day. So at that time, First World War, Admiral Graf Spee the Man was raiding in and around the South Pacific, and after the Battle of Coronel, he came here at the end of that battle to try and get the coal, which was in the coaling station across the harbour. As it so happened, ships of the Royal Navy were here first, and quite literally anchored where your ship is anchored today, and the first shots of that battle were fired across Stanley to the German squadron coming along the southern shore. So that's Battle of the Falklands, 8th of December 1914, very important naval engagement of the First World War.
This looks like blobs on the
Oh, shit,
Yes, I hear.
Yeah, this is a nice shot across here, I mean, just as a scenic shot.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. This is the captain. And welcome back. I do hope you've had a wonderful stay here in Port Stanley, the Falkland Islands. Believe me, the weather has been absolutely exceptional. I've been stationed here twice in a former career when I was with the British Navy, both for 4 months at a time, and I don't think I've ever seen a day quite so perfect as we've seen today. So you really have been very lucky with the weather in these parts. As such, I do hope that you've really enjoyed the views and the sights, and everybody's back on board, and we're just picking up the final tenders on the starboard side. The anchor will be out of the water, then we head our way out of Port William, Port William being the name of the sound that we're anchored in right now. We head out straight past the headland and then down to the south. It's pretty well a straight line from here down to Elephant Island and the Antarctic Peninsula. The distance from here down to Elephant Island is 579 nautical miles. The weather forecast tonight, very similar to now really. We can expect a temperature around 12 Celsius, 54 Fahrenheit. Westerly winds at 10 to 15 knots, light seas and a moderate swell. So conditions reasonably favourable tonight, but tomorrow unfortunately the wind's going to pick up just a little bit. We'll have winds from the west at around 30 knots. The seas will become moderate to rough, and we can expect quite high swells around 5 or 6 metres. As such, I do just warn you, the weather does change incredibly fast in the Southern Ocean, and in the matter of an hour or so it can go from being incredibly pleasant to incredibly unpleasant.
very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the second officer speaking to you from the navigational bridge. I'm very excited to have the pleasure of heading down to the beautiful Antarctic with all of you. I was actually one of the officers on the bridge who was here when we made our last visit down to this part of the world. And I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, you're in store for some very magnificent sights indeed. Just to let you know that we have just crossed the Antarctic convergence zone, and we have posted extra lookouts as a precaution in order to keep a sharp lookout for ice and other vessels. Since our departure from Stanley, we have steamed 293 nautical miles with an average speed of 17 knots. We have a further 283 nautical miles to steam to Elephant Island. Our present position is latitude 56 degrees 22 minutes south, longitude 056 13.1 minutes west, which is 340 nautical miles off the coast of Argentina, and we are presently following a southerly course towards Elephant Island. And enjoy a pleasant day on board the beautiful Star Princess.
Beautiful morning, about 4 Celsius, 41 Fahrenheit, which is quite warm from the Antarctica, as we're approaching Elephant Island.
Good morning, everyone. This is Chris speaking, your resident Antarctic naturalist. As we approach Elephant Island, we can see the steep cliffs and the jagged mountains that make up much of the island and the island group. We're coming to Elephant Island from the north. In terms of Elephant Island's location and where we are at the moment, Elephant Island is located at 61 degrees south and 54 degrees 54 minutes west. It's part of a small group of islands that lie at the far northeastern end of the South Shetland Islands, that lie off the northwestern flank of the Antarctic Peninsula and around 550 miles southeast of Cape Horn. Isn't exactly a homely place, as you can see. The problem with Elephant Island is its lack of habitable space. And this is largely the reason why there are no science bases or research stations currently on the islands. There's hardly any flat land around the coast. Elephant Island's mostly bordered by these steep cliffs that rise straight out of the sea.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, this is the captain. What's a first glimpse of the continent of Antarctica. So we've been steaming up and down to the north of Elephant Island. I do hope you've enjoyed the views of those glaciers and Point Wild. Well, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to wind her up in speed a little bit, pass through Prince Charles Strait, and then head on down to Endurance Glacier. It's about just under 30 miles to go around to there.
Okay, good afternoon everyone. Hope you're enjoying the great weather and great scenery we've got outside. So, the ship is just coming up alongside the Endurance Glacier. This is the very large, distinctive glacier that comes down off the interior of Elephant Island. It's named after the Royal Navy survey and research vessel, the HMS Endurance, which was in turn named after Ernest Shackleton's ship, the Endurance.
The sun is out pretty strong. The ozone layer here is less than in the farther north. Protect yourself.
The sea around the edge of the glacier, you'll notice the discoloration in the water caused by the meltwater of the glacier. You can also see a few hundred meters off the carving front of the glacier a line of brash ice. This is ice that's carved off the front of the glacier.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Captain again. Well, that beautiful sight was Endurance Glacier. We're now just beginning to slowly pick up speed. and we're going to head down to Gibbs Island. That's the island that's fine on the starboard bow. And then we're going to circumnavigate around Gibbs Island before heading on out to sea down towards the Bransfield Strait. Do hope you've enjoyed the wonderful sunshine. And on the port side right now is a wonderful sight of glacier actually going down to the seas. Really quite a spectacular sight.
We're going to be going around Gibbs Island and continuing our journey through the Antarctica.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captain. Well, here we go. We're westbound on the northern side of Gibb Island. Just coming to the end of the island. What I intend doing is turning to the south and then heading east along the southern side. Unfortunately, we can't go nearly as close on the southern side because there's a much more shallow water around there. So as we pass now, we're just 7/10 of a mile from the north shore. Out on the port side right now, a wonderful view.
See quite clearly Esperanza Station, just in the entrance to Hope Bay. That's on the starboard bow, right-hand side of the ship, at about 30 or 40 degrees from the bow. You can see a collection of little red huts, and there's also a ship there. There's a supply ship just slowly moving in. It's a bit of a shame. I think we're going to have to keep a little distance from him and possibly not be able to go quite so far into Hope Bay as I'd anticipated, because they have asked that we keep clear. That said, we'll get as far as we possibly can and certainly give you a good view. You'll be pleased to hear that Joe May is wide awake and he's ready to tell you all about it.
This is Joe, your port lecturer from the bridge. I know many of you are already out and about. It's only 7 o'clock in the morning of a beautiful morning. As Captain said, we are approaching Hope Bay. Esperanza in Spanish means hope. That's the name of the research station, the Argentinian research station, which will be up on the starboard side. You will see some of the brownish or reddish containers. Yes, they are containers, and those containers were turned in to residences, to research laboratories. That's what it is. And of course, Christian Gunn, our naturalist, is on the way to the bridge, and he will tell you a lot of details about the area here.
Okay, towering up behind Esperanza Station is the peak of Mount Flora. Flora was not named for its abundant vegetation and flowers, but named by Northern Skills Party, named by the Antarctic explorers in the early 20th century for fossil flowers that they found in the rocks. around this area. So that's Mount Flora, just behind Esperanza Station, named after the fossil flowers.
You can see how quickly the weather changes in the Antarctic. There's low cloud, very dark cloud, possibly snow out there, whereas in the other direction, as we look down the Antarctic Sound, we can see the blue skies and the sun, and it's just an indication of how quickly the weather changes in this part of the world. Having a look around Antarctic Sound. And if you're out on deck, you can see why Antarctic Sound is nicknamed Iceberg Alley. In the distance, and all around us, you can see lumps of floating ice, varying in size from very large tabular bergs, which I can see straight off the bow at about 12 o'clock, to the smaller bergy bits, which are about the size of a house, to the even smaller bergs, which are called growlers, and then right down to the small lumps of floating ice called brash, or brash ice. Most of these bergs are drifting up from the Weddell Sea.
We already did pass several icebergs, some big ones, some small ones, and of course, as Captain said, within the safety of the ship, we will maintain distance from those big icebergs.
Virtually left to Bay now, and coming back out into Antarctic Sound. Not named after the Antarctic continent, but named after Otto Nordenskiöld's ship from the 1901 expedition to the peninsula. So to, on the left, or the port side, will be the Antarctic continent, the very edge of the continent itself, stretching all the way down to the South Pole and around the Southern Hemisphere. And to the right-hand side, as we look forward, on the starboard side, will be some of the islands that surround the Antarctic continent. We have Dundee Island, Joinville Island, and D'Urville Island. There are large islands that form the outside of Antarctic Sound. Once we leave Antarctic Sound, we'll enter the Bransfield Strait, which is the large stretch of water that separates the South Shetland Islands from the Antarctic continent and the peninsula. The Bransfield Strait was named after Edward Bransfield, a Royal Navy hydrographer, who came down here with William Smith in 1819 and helped chart and map the South Shetland Islands.
We're inside the Bransfield Strait, so we've got 47 miles to run from here up to Admiralty Bay. We're a little bit behind schedule. That fog coming out of the Esperanza Station did set us back a little bit. Obviously, we had to go very, very slowly as we went between those icebergs, particularly on a transit where we weren't able to see them. So we're about 3/4 of an hour or so behind schedule at the moment. So all being well, we should be up there and are making our approach into Admiralty Bay at about 2:45 this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Again, this is the Captain. And we're now heading our way into Admiralty Bay. The ship on the port side we're just passing now is the General Artigas. And Joe, our esteemed lecturer, will be telling you all about that.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the ship, General Artigas, it's a Uruguayan ship. The Uruguayan flag is there. Now we're going beyond the ship. We're going much closer to the Arctowski research station.
This is the Polish Antarctic Survey Station. A couple of the scientists are going to come on board, but equally good news is that 7 of the scientists will be travelling with us from Antarctica, going back up to Ushuaia. So while they're on board, hopefully we'll have the opportunity to share some of their secrets and find out what it's like living down here. Well, everywhere we've been so far, the sun has been shining. There's a little bit of bright up there, so if you can all think really positive thoughts, see if we can clear away some of the gloom. Where we're going to stop and hold the ship. We'll be there quite some time, so do enjoy the views. It's really scenic when we get inside. And of course the Polish scientists will be coming out in their little rubber Zodiac. So do enjoy the afternoon in Admiralty Bay.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Chris speaking from the bridge. So we've crossed the Bransfield Strait from Antarctic Sound and Antarctic Peninsula and left Iceberg Alley and all the icebergs behind us and made our way across the strait to the South Shetland Islands. The South Shetlands were originally charted and discovered in 1819 by a captain named William Smith, who was blown off course from Cape Horn and arrived at this chain of islands. He immediately claimed the islands for the Admiralty and King George. When he finally got to Valparaiso, the British Admiralty assigned a young Royal Naval hydrographer, Edward Bransfield, to accompany him and return to the islands and make a full survey of them.
Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you on the starboard side, the right-hand side of the ship, you see is
All right. No, we're not going to stop for you.
the scientists on board. Amigos, lo que están en el lado derecho, se puede ver el barco que están trayendo los científicos. Los científicos, why you don't wave? Wave. Welcome back. Wave everybody. Welcome them. Yes. Wave and welcome. ¿Por qué no accionan? Accionan para dar las bienvenidas. Esto es.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome our new passengers that will stay with us all the way to Ushuaia.
A lot of people in a very small boat.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the captain. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce you to one of the scientists from the Polish station here, and I'm sure he can say his name much better than myself. My attempt is Pietro.
I would like to say hello to everybody from Polish Antarctic Station Arctowski. I would like to say a few words about our station and about the place we are in this moment. So we are in Admiralty Bay, which is big fjord, as you can see, surrounded by glaciers. And from 30 years, over 30 years, it's a place of Polish Antarctic Station. By the way, we will have our birthday party next week at Thursday. It will be 33rd anniversary of our station. We are preparing for having many guests and enjoying our party. What is the research we are doing on our station? This station is Polish Academy of Science Station, Department of Antarctic Biology. So most programs are focused on biology. I would like to thank you very much for your help, for your hospitality for our people. You will have our 7 scientists. They are very great specialists. They are some geologists. They are biologists. So you will have also opportunity to have some information from first hand from them. And for us, it's a big pleasure to be here and to say a few words from the bridge. Thank you very much for everything and have a great trip in Antarctica. Enjoy it.
Well, this is Joe, your port lecturer. We want to thank Piotr very much, and all I know how to say in Polish is thank you. Dziękuję. And now back to our captain, Edward Perry.
Well, we thank you very much, and it's a great pleasure to have you on board and your colleagues travelling with us, and do hope they're going to have a fair ride, enjoy the passenger facilities, which I'm sure they're probably looking forward to, and we wish you all the very best with your missions down here. Thank you for coming.
Well, we crossed the Bransfield Strait through the night from the South Shetlands, moved away from the from Admiralty Bay and King George Island, came down the South Shetlands and went across the Bransfield Strait back towards the Antarctic continent. We're just entering the Gerlache Strait, which is a stretch of water between the Antarctic continent, which is on the left-hand side, the port side, and that's an area of the continent known as Graham Land, British Graham Land, named after an expedition in the 1930s. And on the starboard side, on the right-hand side as you're looking forward, is the islands of the Palmer Archipelago. Well, the visibility outside isn't particularly good at the moment. It's quite overcast, but at the moment we're passing an enormous iceberg. There's bergs of various sizes out there in the Gerlache Strait, from small bits of brash ice to the larger growlers, which are about the size of a car, to the much larger bergy bits, which are about the size of a house, and then the great big tabular bergs with the flat tops have carved off the ice shelves, and we may get to see the land on either side. You can just make out the ice cliffs on the starboard side, the right-hand side at the moment, and on the port side you can just start to make out some of the rocky cliffs and coastline.
As the low cloud lifts a little and the sky brightens up, you can just see some of the impressive peaks of the Antarctic continent. We're passing down the Gerlache Strait at the moment, which was named after Adrien de Gerlache, a Belgian explorer who conducted an expedition, very famous expedition in this area around the end of the 19th century. It's part of a group of expeditions to the peninsula in the late 19th
Well, at the moment we're just poking our nose down the opening of the Neumayer Channel, which is the fairly narrow channel between Vienki Island and Anvers Island. There's a bit of floating ice at the mouth of it at the moment, a few bergy bits and tabular bergs, and we're just trying to move our way past the bergs and have a look at the opening of the Neumayer Channel.
As Christian was saying, ladies and gentlemen, we are almost in the Neumayer Channel. Some little blue sky is appearing. Let's hope it stays the way it is. It will be a great passage for the 20 miles approximately. Fabulous. The speed is only 7 knots an hour, which is like 10 miles, that's it. Here we go very slowly, so it will be a great passage. We'll be here for a few hours going through this place. Keep your eyes open on the floating icebergs. You might see seals or penguins on top of the icebergs, as we will be now for hours, a few hours going around the Neumayer Channel. Icebergs are like DNA, never two are alike. They can look like, but they never two alike. Try to spot some that even look alike here. It's not that easy.
What do you want to do then? We'll go for... Okay. Oh, you're going to go here, stand right here. So get the mountain back on. Go down there. There we go. Alright, we
Okay, we're just making a approach into Neumayer Channel.
Now the Neumayer Channel is about 20 miles long, about 30 kilometers, and about 1.5 miles or 2.4 kilometers wide.
The outside temperature is still 5 degrees Celsius, about 41 Fahrenheit. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, it won't make any difference if you be on port side or starboard side. You will have fabulous views. To talk too much about such a beautiful place that we're going through. Remember, I always say 1,000 words is less than one picture. And once you see it, it's more than 1,000 pictures. So going through here, just appreciate as we're entering now the Neumayer Channel. Take advantage of this beautiful day. So for those of you on the port side, the left-hand side, we'll be passing by the small sailing vessel. Well, ladies and gentlemen, about the flag, seems like it's a Polish flag passing.
We're looking out onto the shore of Antwerp Island. You can see just a little bit of the exposed shoreline, just the low rocky beaches, and you can sometimes hold up sites for seals and penguins, so keep your eyes peeled.
We're just talking with Christian here, and we are lucky it's overcast. Then you see the beautiful bluish color of the glaciers. If it would be nice bright sun, would be a piece of a white
ice. So we are very lucky.
Thanks, Joe. Yeah, I've been down here a few times now, and every time I've been here, the weather's been completely different. And the great thing about this part of the peninsula, you really can't go wrong with the weather conditions. Even if it is a little bit overcast, as it is at the moment, I think the dark clouds add something to the grandeur of the place. I can see the low cloud hugging the tops of the mountains, and it really does add something to the scale and the spectacle of the mountains. So as I was saying before, this is the start of the Antarctic continent proper. This is the actual landmass of Antarctica. If we were to get onto the landmass, we could travel from here in an unbroken line on the ice cap all the way to the South Pole. We'd have to cross the Transantarctic Mountains, up one of the glaciers, perhaps even the Beardmore Glacier that Scott and Shackleton used.
And this bit along here on the port side was part of the Charcot expedition discovery. It's named Neumayer Point after a French politician who backed the expedition. And many of the features around here are named by Charcot and other members of his expedition.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It's Captain. Do hope you've had a wonderful morning this morning, watching all the ice and the sights to behold in Neumayer. Very pleased that the cloud lifted, and it really did put on a fantastic show for us as we made our way very slowly down the fields. Well, the plan is at the moment to, we're just going to start increasing speed now. We're now at the south end of Neumayer, and we're going to cross back across the Gerlache Strait. That's where we're heading down this morning through the night, and then we're going to head over to the slightly towards the southwest, and we will enter a passage called the Butler Passage. Once we go into the Butler Passage, we'll sail south through there for about 5 miles or so, and we'll get to the southernmost limit of where we're able to navigate, at which stage we'll stop the ship and turn around, have a look down the Neumayer Channel before heading out again.
Visibility is pretty good at the moment. Can see all the way to the Antarctic Peninsula, the Humphreys Heights there, and Booth Island, the twin peaks of Booth Island, and the Neumayer Channel stretching southwards. So this is a great view of the Antarctic continent, the peninsula itself, and we'll slowly be turning around so everyone gets a good view of it.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, this is the captain, and just to give you a bit of background as to why we've stopped where we have chosen right here and now. We came down the Butler Pass down to look at this wonderful view down to Neumayer Strait, and you might indeed wonder why we haven't gone a bit closer down that passage. Well, there's a particularly good reason for that. At the moment we're just less than 1 mile from the position that the entire ship's certification, the insurance, the crew agreement, so all the contracts for every single crew member on board, would cease to function. So that's the parallel of 65 degrees south. So we just edged down to within about half a mile of that position, just to make sure that all our documents remain valid the whole time. And so this is as far south as this ship is ever allowed to travel. The latitude of 65 south is actually set as part of the Antarctic Treaty, and all the larger ships, such as ourselves, ships carrying more than 500 passengers on board, are restricted from entering south of 65 degrees south. So that's the ethos behind it. I thought you might find that interesting. We'll turn around and head back out the way we came. I do hope you're enjoying to continue to enjoy the lovely sights and sounds today.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and the ship's company. My apologies for the intrusion into your staterooms, and to the ship's company for disturbing their peace, but I have an important announcement regarding our schedule. For the last few days, we've been watching the progress of a storm in the Southern Ocean. Approaching from the west is a deep low of 957 millibars, with all the associated weather. And I'm sorry, that wind has nothing to do with the storm. I'll just say that one more time. Approaching from the west is a deep low of 957 millibars, with all the associated weather. We're expecting wind of severe gale force and 10 to 12 meter swell. That's 35 feet in the imperial units. It would be foolhardy and dangerous to remain in the area as this depression approaches. In discussion with other senior officers, we've decided to head north this evening instead of remaining in this area until tomorrow lunchtime as initially planned. This will give us 20 hours head start, and I'm confident this will keep us ahead of the worst of the storm in the Drake Passage. An early departure from the Antarctic Peninsula means that we'll miss the planned sail past of Deception Island tomorrow. However, I'm sure that you'll appreciate the much smoother ride across the Drake Passage. The good news is that we'll arrive at Cape Horn at 8 o'clock on Tuesday morning, hopefully well ahead of the worst of the bad weather. We will then navigate the Beagle Canal, which is quite spectacular, and we'll navigate the Beagle Canal in daylight. This would otherwise have been carried out in darkness. At present, we're trying to arrange an early arrival in Ushuaia, possibly around 8 p.m. on Tuesday evening, but this has yet to be confirmed. In any case, the ship will be in the shelter of the inner passages instead of facing the storm in the Drake Passage. We've said many times that these itineraries are very weather dependent, and we've made these decisions with your safety and comfort as our main priority. But I also believe
that with the daylight passage of the Beagle Canal, you will not be disappointed. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, I'll just recap. This evening, we're now heading north out of the Antarctic Peninsula. The reason for this is to avoid a severe low pressure system which is coming in from the west. So once again, sorry for interrupting your evening. A very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the captain. As is customary on a sea day, at noon we like to keep you up to date with the ship's navigational progress. We'll start with the weather. I'm sure you're all aware we are experiencing these quite strong winds. At the moment we've got northwesterly winds, gale force 8, and rough seas. The temperature at present is 7 degrees Celsius, which is 45 on the Fahrenheit scale. Well, I've made a few decisions to hopefully make the ride a little bit more comfortable, and what we're doing at the moment, we're heading almost at full speed, heading up towards Cape Horn. Distance at the moment from Cape Horn is about 230 nautical miles. What I intend doing is steaming on past Cape Horn and going up to an island called Lennox Island, and we are going to anchor there at around midnight tonight on the eastern side of the island, which will provide us a very good lee, which is a nautical word for shelter from the wind and the sea. Part of the reason for anchoring will be that if tomorrow morning we were intending to pick up the pilots at Cape Horn, it would actually be far too rough. They've got to come out an awful long way, all the way from Port Williams in a very small boat, and it's actually far too rough for the local pilots to be able to get out that far. And indeed, it wouldn't be safe for them to board the ship in that position. So we're taking the Mountain to Mohammed, and the ship's going right up to Lennox Island in the shelter, and the pilots can safely board at that time. We'll pick up the anchor and slowly head back down towards Cape Horn to give you that experience. I am watching the weather forecast very, very carefully, and do have to tell you that the Drake Passage tomorrow is looking absolutely awful. So we're very, very pleased that we made the decision last night to head north. And of course, we will have to bear in mind the condition of the weather tomorrow. Hope all being well, we should be off the island of Cape Horn. Once that's over, we'll turn around and head back into the calm conditions of the Beagle Canal. It's really interesting. It's a fascinating journey in there, and it's normally done at night. So I think in the last few years I've only ever witnessed it from the darkness. But tomorrow we shall do it in full daylight, which will of course be a bonus. Now, a few words of caution. At the moment we are experiencing very strong winds on the open decks. The relative wind is about 60 odd knots, so we've taken the liberty of closing the port side of deck number 7. This is for everybody's safety. If you're in the exposed areas, I do just ask you to use common sense and hold on to the handrails. So once again, just please do take care as you move around the ship. I'm going to ask the Officer of the Watch, Alex, to give you a little more information.
A very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is your Officer of the Watch speaking from the bridge. I would like to give you some information regarding our progress. Since our departure from Antarctica, we have steamed 408 nautical miles with an average speed of 18 knots. Our present position is latitude 59 degrees and 06 minutes south, longitude 66 degrees and 20 minutes west. We are presently following a northerly course towards our destination, and weather-wise, at noon, the true wind is from the northwest, force 8 or 40 knots. the seas are rough. The barometric pressure was falling slowly for the last 4 hours, and now it is 980 millibars. The sky is cloudy, and we expect the current condition to prevail throughout the day. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your attention.
Well, last night we finally got out of the rough weather conditions at around 2 o'clock in the morning as we came into the lee of these islands, and we anchored the ship off of Lennox Island at about 3:30 this morning. And there we sat, we were waiting for the Chilean pilots to board. They came out by launch and were on board at about 7 o'clock this morning. Enabled to navigate around these islands, it's a requirement that the pilots are on board, and so therefore we waited for them, and now we're on our way. Picked up the anchor, and we're now heading back on out to Cape Horn. Now these timings are all very approximate, so we'll keep you informed on the public address system as we get towards the interesting parts. But the approximate timing is to circumnavigate the island of Cape Horn at around 10 o'clock this morning, so it's about an hour and 3/4. We should be off Cape Horn, heading around there, and once that's complete, we'll then be heading back. We're just in discussion with the pilots for trying to find the most scenic of the routes to get back towards Port Williams. But it'll be, from leaving Cape Horn, it'll probably be an hour and a half or so in the more open waters before getting into the more scenic sections of the Beagle Canal. All in all, it's looking like the weather's going to be quite kind to us. It will be a little bit bumpy as we head around Cape Horn, but I'm sure you got very used to that yesterday, and it will probably seem quite an anticlimax after your ride yesterday in the roaring 40s.
Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is your port lecture from the bridge. On this beautiful Cape Horn morning, trying to go through the Strait of Magellan, Sir Francis Drake was blown south by strong winds. And his report said that he saw some islands and some land as he was blowing south. Many sailors tried to find it. Many sailors lost their life here. They also call this the graveyard of many of the sailors. It's in the archipelago of Tierra del Fuego, in the southernmost island, the island of Horn, and the southernmost tip of the island, which is the southernmost piece of land of South America, which is known as Cape Horn. 478 meters tall above sea level. It's about 1,400 feet. That's what is the height of the highest peak, the southernmost peak. Well, ladies and gentlemen, today is really calm compared what Cape Horn used to be, or still is sometime. And that's why when you see these beautiful sculptures, which became detached from the main island, it took years and years and years, the nature, to make it. Take a look at the waves hammering the island. Imagine year after year, day after day, hour after hour. That makes these beautiful sculptures. Ladies and gentlemen, the ship is turning and circumnavigating the island. The ship is moving. So when you walk around, make sure halt to a handrail. Well, ladies and gentlemen, yes, there is the famous, infamous, or you want to call, Cape Horn. So here it is, the tallest part of the island, the southernmost piece of land in South America. Well, you didn't realize, but going around the island, we left the Atlantic, went for just a few minutes into the Pacific, back to the Atlantic again, as this is the division. People ask me which is higher, the Atlantic or the Pacific. Well, it's all sea level, exactly the same. So, Cabo de Hornos, Cape Horn, Chilean territory. Cabo de Hornos, territorio chileno. What a beautiful afternoon at this part of the world. Sun is shining. Just in a few minutes, we will be properly entering the Beagle Channel. We are on the way to the Beagle Channel. It's straight ahead of us. And then we will be entering. This is the part where we're going to get into the Beagle Channel.
There's a CD. Logos just coming up on the starboard side in a couple of minutes.
And very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you on the starboard side, which is the right-hand side of the ship, we just passed, which is the wreck of a ship called Logos. It was a Bible ship. Yeah, it happened in 1982.
We are now entering the Beagle Canal. For those of you on the starboard side, the right-hand side of the ship, you are taking picture of Argentinian territory. For those of you on the port side, the left-hand side of the ship, you're taking pictures and you're watching and looking at Chilean territory. It was divided in the middle, all the way. Yes. And this goes all the way to Ushuaia. Once, about a couple hours after we leave Ushuaia, it becomes all Chilean territory on both sides. So, until 2 hours after Ushuaia, is all divided. And we are in the middle, in between both countries at the moment. Puerto Williams has a small airport, a small landing strip. And you will see as we will be passing, as we will be leaving. So, everybody that goes to Cape Horn, those people that work on Cape Horn, the people that stay in Cape Horn, they fly in and they come here to Puerto Williams. And from here, depending on the day, they can take even a helicopter if the wind is not strong. Or they take a boat all the way to Cape Horn. Our pilots today, they came here from Puerto Williams to join our ship. Amigos?
We have to go to Puerto Williams to go through customs and clearance processes. We've been sailing through Chilean waters, and it is a requirement that before we go to Argentina we have to clear customs and immigration at Puerto Williams. The intention probably will to just to hold the ship on the engines and using the thrusters in position while the customs and immigration officers come on board, go through the paperwork. This usually takes about 3/4 of an hour. Once that's done, we'll be heading on down to Ushuaia. We'll pick up the Argentinian pilot. That's 7 o'clock this evening. gentlemen, good evening. This is the captain. Well, welcome to Ushuaia in Argentina. If you've been out and about and watching, you'll notice that the ship is now at anchor. The plan had been to go alongside. However, at this time, there's another ship on our pier. She was supposed to have sailed 4 hours ago, but there's some very strong winds, and they are basically pinned onto the berth by the very strong wind at the moment, and they can't safely move off the pier. So in order for us to go alongside, we have to wait for the Carnival Splendor to sail. Once she's sailed, then we'll obviously think about how we get the Star Princess in and alongside. At the moment the wind is very strong. It's about 40 knots for the Carnival Splendor to move off the pier. We're estimating the wind has to come down to about 25 knots or so, so there's a little bit to come, but fingers crossed, often as not, at sunset the wind decreases, and so all being well, shortly after sunset we may be able to move in, but one of those fluid things, and we just have to be guided by the weather.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you today? Hi. Well, we have. I think we've been waiting for you with this sunny day. At least right now. So meanwhile we leave the harbor. Let me tell you that we are. Eduardo is the driver. My name is Susana. I'm the guide. I'm going to tell you some things about Tierra del Fuego. You know that Ushuaia is the capital of Tierra del Fuego province. We have one main street, San Martin Street, and it's the first one parallel to this one. This is the sea coast, Maipú Avenue. First street, San Martin. Everything is there. Ushuaia was born like a penal colony with a very famous prison that was functioning between 1902 and 1947. And while it was functioning, it became the social economical axis of the life in Ushuaia. And we have a nice panoramic point in a few seconds that will show. Apart from your ship, this is the Ushuaia Bay. Ushuaia Bay. It's close by this peninsula where is located the airport. Nice view of your ship too. Yes. We are going to cross the Andes on this tour. This island, the Andes runs from west to east, not from north to south. When they reach the Magellan Strait, change the direction and runs like that. So really, we should be in Chile right now. Is Ushuaia the only Argentine city at the other side of the Andes Strait? But we are not going to change any country, so don't worry about your passport or anything like that, because we cross the Andes through Garibaldi Pass, but we don't change any country. Really, this will be a panoramic trip, just a nice panoramic trip. So because while we are crossing the Andes, we are going to make stops in for photo stops. Next stop will be for toilets. And then we will go to Garibaldi Pass. That's the place where we are going to cross the Andes. Then we'll get down till Escondido. We swim a little in the Escondido. and from there we'll come back. On highway number 3, National Highway number 3. This is a highway that comes from Buenos Aires. It starts at the Congress in Buenos Aires, runs all over Patagonia, more or less to the coast of the Atlantic Sea. When you reach the Magellan Strait, disappears, jumps, and there's no tunnel or bridge. So appears in the island, in the Argentine side of the island, and runs all the island, ending in the national park at the other side, at the west. So we are on our direction is east, northeast. We are not going to reach Buenos Aires. It's like three days we need at
That's why you keep taking the island. Apart from this one, we have complementary roads that are joining things like sawmills or ranches to this main road. But this is the only one we have to go out and to camp in. And takes the sap of the trees to live. Before they die, they're going to open kind of cells, throw the spores. They die, fall down, and that's all for the fungus. They're very nice. When it's the time, it's not the season of the bark softer. Then with a knife, you cut the bark, and this is the natural shape it has. And things like key holders, ashtrays, different souvenirs are done with these pieces of wood. So, this is not the moment to see the fungus. Just Amarillista is the name of the no, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's very Thank you.
Oh my God!
Oh, God.
I'm gonna go pet.
Wait.
They all love me. I'm gonna go pet the ones over there. They're so
cute.
Oh, they're attacking me.
Noah, turn it off for a minute. Wait.
Okay.
Stay there.
Little pups.
Belén, and I will be your guide during this tour, where we're going to be navigating around the Beagle Channel, visiting the different colonies of South American sea lions, rock and imperial cormorants, and also visiting Les Eclaireurs Lighthouse. We'll be back in Ushuaia Harbor at 3 p.m. to arrive to this area. On the rocky island in front of us, we can see a group of little noisy white birds. On the rocks, there is a group of rock cormorants or rock sharks. These cormorants have the particularity to build their nest always on the cliffs, on the walls of the rock. And we will recognize the colony because of the white color of their guano on the rocks. Here on this area. On the other shore as well, we can see two birds, and that's why we call them like that. In front of the lighthouse, there's a lighthouse, our emblematic. Down there, big like a big fishing skua, which is one of the most important predators for cormorants and penguins. There is also a small colony of South American sea lions. These sea mammals are here during all the year, and this is the best moment to see them because they use the rocks for getting rest. usen salvavidas para saltar y evite abandonar la embarcación hasta último momento. Una vez colocado el chaleco salvavidas, siempre siga atentamente las instrucciones de la tripulación.
Good evening, this is the captain. Welcome back. Do hope you've had a wonderful stay here in Ushuaia. The weather today, for those of you ashore, has been very, very kind to us. Beautiful sunshine. It's almost inevitable that we get the occasional rain shower while here, but once again, we've been very lucky. I'm just waiting for a lull in the weather. When the wind goes down, we'll attempt to pull ourselves off the berth and be away from here. It's quite a fast passage from here up to Punta Arenas. It's 272 nautical miles, and we'll be heading out at pretty well full speed for manoeuvring on the inner passages, about 19 knots all the way. The weather forecast for tonight is it'll get quite chilly, around 8 Celsius, 46 Fahrenheit. Quite a brisk westerly wind blowing. And the forecast for tomorrow, we can expect a high of around similar temperatures, very, very similar to what we've experienced today. The passage, once we're off the berth, we swing the ship right the way around and head out to the east initially. We've got about 10 miles to go in the wrong direction. Make a big turn because we have to go around the shallow patches that are just on the port side of the ship now. Make a big turn, then we'll be coming back past Ushuaia again in about an hour and a half or so. Continue our way through the Beagle Canal, and we'll pass from the Argentinian territory into the Chilean territory at about 6:30 this evening, so that's when the Argentinian pilot will disembark and we'll be on our way. Now we wind our way through the canal, and then we actually have to head out into the Pacific Ocean. That should be around 1:30 in the morning. You can expect a fair old swell out there, so the ship may begin to roll around a bit, but it's only for approximately 3/4 of an hour that we're outside, and then we come back in again and head our way through to the Magellan Straits. All being well, we should be anchored in Punta Arenas around 7 o'clock in the morning, ready for your tours. So ladies and gentlemen, it is a very scenic departure. Other than that, the cruise director, Richard, and his team have got wonderful entertainment for you this evening. We'll be passing 4 very interesting glaciers this evening. They'll be on the starboard side of the ship at around 8 o'clock tonight. If obviously we're a little bit late leaving, add on the time that we're late leaving to the arrival there. So around 8 o'clock tonight on the starboard side, 4 very nice glaciers we pass very close by. Have a wonderful evening on the Star Princess.
news is, hopefully, we won't see any rain during our stay. Well, I do apologise, we're somewhat late, about an hour and a half late on our arrival. Obviously, we were very late departing Ushuaia yesterday, and it was a full-speed run all the way through, so the amount of time late leaving last night reflected this morning. I had hoped we'd pick up a little bit of time, but unfortunately we had exceedingly strong headwinds. I don't know if you heard it around 11, 12 o'clock last night. Very, very strong headwinds, which knocked our speed back quite considerably. Anyway, we're here now. We do have to get the tenders ready. We do have to indeed embark the local customs and immigration officers to go through the process of clearance. And again, this all takes time, so please bear with us. The important thing is that we're heading on up to Valparaiso this evening. Ship will sail at 8 p.m, but the bit to remember is that the last tender from the shore back to the ship will leave at 7 p.m. So 7 p.m, last tender from the shore back to the ship. Ladies and gentlemen, it's proving to be a wonderful day here. But main thing is to have a wonderful stay here in the port of Punta Arenas.
So for the left side of our bus is the Salesian Monument. This avenue is our main avenue in Punta Arenas. It's called Manuel Bulnes. Manuel Bulnes was a president in Chile in 1843. Was a president. The Shepherd Monument is one of the most famous monuments in Patagonia because the cattle activity is one of the most important activities and also the most typical activity in Patagonia. So the shepherd is our main character here. Monument also for the left side of our bus. This community was and is very important for our region. They come here in a big number of people, and they stay until our days of the economical activity, but the petroleum is the most important activity in Patagonia. So the petroleum monument for the left side. For the left side is the Patagonian Institute Museum. In that place, you will see the cemetery of Punta Arenas. The cemetery. It's a very nice, beautiful place and very interesting too. If you want to know a little more about history in our region, you must visit the cemetery. And also the most important family of pioneers also have very beautiful mausoleums there. And of course our cypress look very nice. Yes, we cut them, and we, not we, the people that work in the cemetery, but they cut them and make this special shape. So they are cypress, Macrocarpa cypress. Look beautiful, huh? Otway Sound is located about 65 kilometers at the northwest of our city. So we need 1 hour and 50 minutes for get there. 1 hour is really north of Chile and south of Peru and Bolivia. Guanaco is native from here, from Patagonia. Yeah. But in this case, this owner introduced, in the last 8 years, actually, some farmers introduced the llama and alpaca at this region because it's a very good business. The quality of alpaca or llama is a very good quality, and it's like where they experiment with this animal. They mix the guanaco with the llama. That white and the other brown sitting there are llamas. But this first one is guanaco. Guanaco. So they mix both, and now we have lamanaco. Yeah, this true. The little baby is a mix from this animal. This is because the guanaco have better quality of wool than the alpaca or llama, but they must to sharing a lot of guanaco for get only 1 kilogram. They are very, very soft and not so heavy wool. Camellids in Chile. These 3 or 4 females? Yeah, they are big. It's an ostrich, the Patagonian ostrich. We call them ñandú. Ñandú. The main characteristics of these birds is that they cannot fly. No, they run, but run very fast, like a 70 or 80 kilometers per hour. And the other characteristics of this ostrich is that one male have 3 or 4 female, 3 or 4 wife. Good rule, you know. And now I need help. Is carping. No, the kind of the words for these birds.
Wow.
Is carping. It's carpenters.
Oh, scavengers.
False. They're saying they are the Falconidae family. The name is southern crested caracara. We call them caranchos. This stop here is because this road is private. We are crossing stances, so we need to pay for use. Go to the left, and now we are here in Otway Sound. Riesco Island, continental land. Don't smoke in. side of the colony and the same time for come back. So thinking in about 4 hours for the complete excursion, for the complete circuit.
Welcome to Punta Arenas, the southernmost city in the continent. Have you heard this before? Where? You know, sir, they lie to you. We usually argue about this with Ushuaia. We say that we are the southernmost city, they say that they are. The thing is that we are a city, they are a town. We're still on mainland, and they are on an island. So I think that we win, but I agree with them. They are the southernmost place where you can get in South America.
1,195 nautical miles to our destination, Valparaiso. Our present position is latitude 51 degrees, 18 minutes south, and longitude 074 degrees, 22 minutes west. And we are presently following variable courses through the Chilean fjords. Weather-wise, at noon, the true wind is quite variable, gusting at times up to 50 knots, or that's around 90 kilometers per hour. The seas are slight, and the air temperature outside is now 13 degrees Celsius or 55 Fahrenheit. The sky is overcast with occasional showers and sunny spells, and we expect the current conditions to prevail throughout the day. Our intention is to keep you updated on our progress as we pass through the various fjord channels. But these announcements will be made only on the TV channel 32, Open Decks, and the Horizon Code. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your attention and enjoy your day at sea aboard the wonderful Star Princess.
A medical emergency. Any person who carries a blood donor card and regularly donates blood and blood group O negative, report to the medical centre immediately if you are willing to donate blood for one of our critically ill patients. Please report immediately to the medical centre to assist a critically ill patient.
lovely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we do hope you've had a wonderful cruise. And right now, as I did the second night out, it is my utmost pleasure to introduce to you a captain. And, well, during the last 14 days, I know you've gotten to know and really appreciate this guy. So now I hope you'll bring him on with a huge round of applause, the master of the Star Princess, Captain Ed Perrin.
Thank you, Richard. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been an absolutely fantastic cruise. I know it's drawing towards an end now, but I do hope that you've got lots of fantastic memories to take home with you. It's been an adventure, complete adventure. I just said to a couple of people that I was saying yesterday to the staff captain, I guess that sooner or later I'm going to have to get used to taking the ship to a schedule. I've kind of got used to driving it around where I fancy on whichever day I want for the last 2 weeks, and it has been an absolute privilege. I don't know about you, but I've absolutely and completely and thoroughly enjoyed this cruise. Have you? Yeah. Well, to make it all happen, there is a lot of things that go on backstage, and I really would like to say a couple of words of thanks. The ship's company have been quite fantastic. Every time I'm standing there on the nice warm bridge, I look back and the bar staff are out there freezing themselves to death, walking around the decks. The photographers were up morning, noon and night trying to get the best pictures to enhance your experience. There's the engineers topping up the fuel down in Port Stanley, and I don't know if you realise how cold it gets in that engine room down there. All the doors are shut, there's all that cold water against the ship's side, and it was absolutely freezing. And because we were running at such slow speeds, we had to get extra people down there. So there's an awful lot that went on, but it has been our great pleasure to make it all happen to you. Now, I watched that weather forecast roll in, and then started doing some maths. Got the old-fashioned dividers out, stepped them across the chart, and I took the decision to cut and run from Antarctica to get across the Drake Passage, and I have to say I'm thoroughly pleased I did. I know one or two of you looked on the internet to make sure I wasn't lying, and I promise you that was no fun to be left down there in that storm. We had about 6 metre swells as we crossed the Drake Passage. If we'd stayed those extra 20 hours or so, I think it would have been up to probably 10 or 11 metres of swell down there, so it would have been no fun. And the good thing was, and I'm absolutely delighted, that for the first time of sailing in and out of the Beagle Canal for years and years and years, I've actually seen it in the daylight, and I loved it. Did you? Did you think it was good? You did. So there was always a silver lining. And that was absolutely great. But there's the major word of thanks, and the word of thanks goes to you, because of course we've got our energy off of you. The ship's company really enjoyed taking care of special people, and this cruise, you've been particularly special. You've all been so enthusiastic about everything that there is to see. I see you out there first thing in the morning until last thing at night, shivering yourselves to death, and making the full advantage of seeing absolutely everything you can. And for us on board, it is a great pleasure when we know that you are enjoying yourselves. So I thank you for being our guests on board the Star Princess these last few days. And please enjoy the last day. It's not over to the very end, and we do look forward to seeing you again in the future. Thank you very much.
Captain, if I can ask you to stay put for 1 second. Ladies and gentlemen, the most friendly and visible captain on the 7 seas. Right now, please join me in 3 cheers for Captain Perrin. Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray! Ladies and gentlemen, the master of the Star Princess, Captain Ed Perrin. Thank you, sir. I hope I'm not fired after that. I normally don't do that. Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Champagne Waterfall. The music's by Jam Inc. They are rocking. Keep going. Inc., our wonderful band from Explorers from Vancouver, British Columbia. Well, a very good evening, everybody. Hello! Nice to see you all. Welcome to the Champagne Waterfall. Listen, hold on to your streamers for just a few moments, because what we want to do is we want to recreate New Year's Eve. We're going to do the countdown to 0, and then you're all going to release your streamers. But I've got to ask you, have you enjoyed the wonderful food and service here on board the Star Princess the last 16 days? Have you? Here is a gentleman responsible with his wonderful teams of junior waiters, head waiters, the maitre d's, and our head maitre d is a wonderful gentleman from England. Let's hear it for Luigi. Come on, Luigi. I'll tell you, I have so much respect for your group. Now listen, before you place that final glass, Luigi, how many years building these waterfalls?
It's my first time.
Your first time? Uh-oh. How many glasses are in the waterfall tonight?
749.
Soon to be 750, right? Now, I know what you're all thinking. Has one of these ever fallen over?
Sometimes the last one.
Okay, now we're going to place the last one and I'll let you know what's coming up after that. We need total silence as we place the final glass. And there it is, 750 glasses. Now, here's what's going to happen. We want each and every one of you to come up and pour champagne from this side. We're going to walk you over. The video team is here. The photographers are here. Then we are going to get the party going with Jam Inc. It's going to be huge. So, if you're ready to start this party, come on everybody, give me an oh yeah! Okay, let's do the countdown. Are you ready? Okay, don't throw the streamers at the waterfall, because it would be a real short waterfall, not to mention we could get hurt by flying glass. So here we go, throw the streamers into the center. When we hit 0, here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, party time! On board the beautiful Star Princess. Come on up, ladies and gentlemen, pour champagne into the waterfall. The dance floor is right in the center of the atrium. It's party time. Come on, let's get this party started.
Liars. Alright, here we go. More music with jumping. Here we go. Come and join us here at the dance floor. Everybody dancing.
incrocio Louisiana e Sasha Scott nel Malambo.
Stop here. This the other dock side from the Navy. The other cargo area. You ship. Well, later on there one idea to change this terminal to the other halfway will be the new terminal. There are one new construction. This one was before where your terminal right now. This one was before the rose one. So you can see, you know, the from 1854. So also you can see the trolley is a small you see area with a small square here. You see that building over there, beautiful, but they have to take care of that building, you see? It's English style construction. French, I say, with the, yeah, from the top. French. Yeah. Neoclassic French. And, well, to remind you of the statue of the Arturo Prat, was the all the fighter guy. They died in that Pacific War. Well, this is the cathedral here. See? Well, the same thing, like give you thanks to the city. English to us. Also, this one is a small lake. Pass over here, we call Marga Marga. This is a small lake here. They have to clear it up, this lake, because snow with the water. Safe the water like that. Well, now we left the 5 region, and this one, we entrance to the metropolitan. Now we're going straight to the San Cristobal Hill. Well, here we're going to take a funicular to go into the top. Okay. The older also was the airport before that one, in 1960.
¿Se puede hacer esto? Wow.
Yeah. And you can go in to the public transportation. Besides the public time to go to the subway also. So this is the one of the clubs. From 1960, and the other side here, for example, by one, when was a Pinochet, for example, the Pinochet was a resident here, in the side of the flag over there was a big torches with everybody. When Pinochet died, for example, and we're talking about a little politics, but I have to do that. Well, for politics, for example, Pinochet, from after the strike from 1973, 11 September, Pinochet taken away many money from him and many money from the family. Was good for that. Even the government, when the first time the people stayed around of him, tortured him.
Just for you to know, because you need to know in advance these things. You know that tomorrow is an early day. We need to start very early at 5 in the morning. We are leaving. We are leaving at 5 in the morning. We have to get our flight to Lima. Our flight is at 8 in the morning, 5 in the morning we are leaving. This international flight, we come back with all the international restrictions that we know. Little plastic bags, little bottles, and those things. Those all international rules. All right.
Beautiful pages of the first church that was built. You know, if you can see the columns, those are Solomonic. We have neoclassic and Tuscanian Baroque here in the top of this church, right? That is the most beautiful because it was the first one in Cusco, and where different artists that we captured. In this moment, we are going to visit first the ruins. How you know we are in the rain season, and how it's clear we have to be sure to visit the ruins with this, dry time. For that we are going first to the ruins and then we will be... the ruins that we are going to visit, and we have at the right the steps that some tourists used to go by walking from Cusco, that is the minus square, to the ruins are about 45 minutes by walking up, all the way up.
means always was here. It's impossible to move this huge stone. Means more of the huge rocks belong to the mountain. Always were here, and yes, they built around the rocks the rest of the
Until the Spaniards came. So are we walking down those?
Just beside us, kill many of them. We can see at the right some llamas. They are.
Oh, wait a minute, wait a
The vicuña is the little one, and just brown, and it's like a dirt. The vicuña is like a dirt. Yeah, the dirt. Deer.
Look at him.
A good opportunity to see the land, because the Spaniards covered some terraces and Inca palaces and Inca altars with earth, but now you can see. Now you can see at the left the workers in the park, how you can see they are working.
We have an easy way. Maybe you know, but you don't remember. Sexy woman.
It's behind the Princess Cove. Yeah, so placeholder
That is the Inca altar where the Incas did the sacrifices. Four llamas. Okay, now we can see the Inca altar where the priest, the king, and the queen did the sacrifices of baby llamas, alpacas. But just in the day of the Mother Earth, when is this? August 1st is the day of the Mother Earth. It's a big celebration in Cusco. Yeah, August 1st and stopped to work because the Inca Empire was divided before the conquest. And in this case, it was easy to win the war because were 15 million. The Incas were 15 million inhabitants, and the Spaniards, when they arrived, were 180. Just 180. Huh? Now you know for what reason we stopped to war, but it was not just for the conquest. building of this wall at the right, just now at the right with the stones. That was original wall built in 1200, and now at the left side, on the left side. Another one at the left side. This is original. All from the bottom part to the corner and behind, this was an Inca palace. All this is original wall built in 1200. Another original wall to the right, just in the bottom part. Now we are going to visit the cathedral, but we will stop here if somebody wants to take pictures of the main square. Yeah, that will be the unique opportunity with this light. Just 5 minutes, yeah? If you want to leave something in the car, it's very safe. part that you can see the city was the rock quarry like we saw in Cusco. That is the reason the Incas built the Machu Picchu city here.
A very intelligent look on the llama.
Det er som regel englænder, der er sådan.
Ja.
Down below. In the meantime, the whole thing was covered with mountains. So what is there? Initially, labor for farming oil, carrots,
Potatoes.
Yes. Maize, potatoes, many things like that. Yeah, different crops. Okay, please. Now you look in, join the group, please. That's Machu Picchu Mountain. And means Machu Old. Picchu Mountain. Old mountain. That nobody knows this mountain. I have a picture of this the old right. And this is the temple of the condor. That is the body. That was an Inca altar. That is the hat, have the eyes, the beak, the white collar, and fountain. This fountain is collecting the water, the blood of the animals, because the condor will drink literality. And will go down by way. Okay. Rest.
Yes, I got it, Bob. Got that one.
It was together before the big glaciers that, was happening like now, the warming time. Probably was different the war, and they were walking just between those places. They were using, some transportations to arrive in 10 days, 15 days. I don't know. But we have...
Let's take a photo.
Mister, I need the princess. Yes. Do you know where you put that?
I'm there, yes.
Yes. It's there. Elizabeth is there.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. I suppose that it was both pictures it is children. Yeah? This is the only one day that you can see this. Because for December 27th we have another window behind we are going to see. The other picture for December about 20 seconds by the second wind. The sun passed through the other gate and shined the middle of the Inca altar, the same where the tiene dos ventanas. Those are still warm. We can see we have many visitors for June and December 22nd. But in December,
Forse pensano solo.
Got it. Weird.
when you will finish your pictures, please, we have to go over there because it's coming another huge group. Once a week. Yes, I collect now here. You can see how they carved it with the same shape of the mountain behind, but from here.
welcome you on board in our Vistadom service, which will take us to Ollantaytambo train station. Our trip will take approximately 1 hour and 30 minutes, covering a distance of 43 kilometers or 27 miles.
About 75% of the time, Lima is cloudy, foggy, hazy, and misty. So we're still in the 25% of the time when we see the sunshine, which is very nice for us. So we're leaving the city of Callao, and very soon we'll be getting into the city of Lima. But you see, both look like just one large city, but it's two different cities. Just one street would be the border. So you can see the buildings around the plaza. We're having so many works in the streets in downtown Lima that all the buildings are very dusty. See, Lima is really very spread out and is divided in 43 different districts. We have 43 different mayors, and then we have one mayor for the whole city. Lima is about 8 million people. We say that it's almost 1/3 of the population of Peru concentrated in Lima. Well, so this mayor of Lima, native to Lima, who really loves Lima, came in office and said, Lima is a city with history. Because of its history, it was declared World Heritage by UNESCO in 1991. Straight ahead, we have the mountains. The mountains, in this case, the dry foothills of the Andes, with no vegetation at all. You can see a series of wooden balconies that Lima is known for. They show the typical architecture. So these wooden balconies were originally Moorish, but most of the Spaniards that came to Peru after the conquest came from Granada, Andalusia, Sevilla, all that part of Spain, with a strong Moorish influence. So they just brought that kind of architecture here into Lima. Plaza Mayor de Lima, the place where Francisco Pizarro, the Spanish governor, founded Lima, 1535, January the 18th. Look at it. Presidential Palace, a big building there to the left, goes for a whole block around, and that holds the president's residence and offices. There's 4 yellow ochre buildings from 1930s, private office buildings, and back there, a private club and the Lima City Hall. On this side, we have the Lima Cathedral on this corner. That's one of the buildings that we're going to visit, originally from 1535. Monastery of St. Francis, and next to it, the Church of St. Francis. So this is the place where we get off. Well, so from here, after we visit this, we're going to walk to the plaza and visit the cathedral. Take your cameras with you. I think that's all you need to take with you. The rest you can leave on the bus, no problem. Okay, please, when we get off, stay as a group. We're going to go slowly, stay as a group all the time. Go on, this is the place for pictures. Miraflores. Hotel is better? Lucero, hotel is better. No. She's the boss. She's the boss. Yeah. So we'll do the last stop and then.
Dogs down there. Do you see them? No, they're gone. Maybe. Look at the flag up here on the mountain.
So this was Plaza Mayor de Lima, the main square.
Back here at the hotel, and we'll be leaving the hotel in about 6 hours for the airport. South American vacation is all but over, as I'm packing up and readying myself to go home.